Well, hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC. All right, let's take Sharky up. My 80mm integral from Hobby Zone sent to me in his FMS brand. Let's take her up and have some fun. What do you say? Meet you at the field. All right, folks, Fat Guy Flies RC. Out here at the Avon Park Field, we're going to take up the 80mm integral, or Sharky as I like to call it, because it's a very organic looking plane. Take it up and have some fun with it. Got the KM model afterburner in there. All right, here we go, here we go, here we go. All right, 4K, 60 frames per second. Wind is out of the southeast. So, this plane does not have reverse thrust, but does have flaps. But she's pretty handy plane as far as landing into the wind and everything. So, all right. Timer set for 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Here we go. No flaps going into the wind.
Gear up.
All right, all those maneuvers are full speed. There. Cooling electronics off, just gliding, no power, no power. Now I'm hitting it. Okay. All right.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
Let's see if we can't slow our roll a little bit.
Landing flaps. Flaps up.
Like I say, very organic looking plane. Try to
Landing flaps.
slow it down, bring it by. Got the flaps down.
Flaps up.
Take it up, cut the power. All right. Inside sticks.
Time remaining 2 minutes.
Just a great 80mm. All right.
Gear down.
We'll work out a landing here.
Landing flaps.
Now I do not have reverse thrust, so don't really need it. Little touch and go. Little roll there.
Gear down.
All right. Gears down. I think that's enough of a presentation for the first flight of the day. Got a minute left. All right, let's do another. We're gonna do a landing this time with no flaps, just a touch and go again. There we go. little bit of a cross breeze today. But that's okay. Let's go.
Landing flaps.
Come by slow.
30 seconds.
Got the flaps down. Got the gear down.
Flaps up.
Flaps are back up.
20 seconds.
All right.
Landing flaps.
Flaps are back down on my final approach here. Get lined up with the runway. Paying attention to my cross breeze. And go around.
Timer expired.
All right.
Landing flaps.
A little further out this time for my approach. Bleeding off my speed. I'm out of my power completely. Back into about a third power. There in the grass. Let the grass do the work for me.
Flaps up. Prop secured.
Prop secured. Let me get you a battery report real quick. Try to leave the hat cam on my head here. Ooh, 10%. 10% left. All right, each cell is 3.6, 3.6, 3.6, 3.6. So we pushed it, but that's okay. All right, that'll be just fine. You get below 3 per cell, and now you got yourself a nice paperweight. All right, well, that's flight number 1. We'll come back with a second flight here in just a moment. Sorry about the getting all over the place with the film, but there you go, folks. That's integral. We'll be right back for another flight in just a minute. All right, Sharky. All right, folks. Fat Guy Flies RC. Second flight with the FMS Integral, 80 millimeter. All right. All right. All right, take it up, cut the power installer. Take it back up, cut the power again. And see what I'm doing now. I just flew all the maneuvers full speed. I go up and I cut the power. Now I cut the power, I'm gliding down. And all that's doing is forcing all that cold air over my electronics, cool everything off. So let me hit it. There we go. There we go. Very organic flying plane. I mean, it's organic because it looks like a shark. All right.
Gear down.
See if we can't get a landing out of this little guy. Now this is the 80 millimeter integral. Got a little bit of a cross breeze, but we'll be all right. See if we can't do a touch and go here. There we go. More of a bounce and go, but.
Gear up. Time remaining 2 minutes.
All right.
Landing flaps.
Slow it down.
aircraft.
All right. Let's come by a little bit lower, a little bit slower, without the flaps though. Let me back up a little bit, make sure I'm not cutting the flight off. A little bit lower. I think we can do better than that though. Yeah. I'm thinking we can get lower than that. Come on. That's pretty low.
Gear down. Gear up. 1 minute.
All right.
Gear down.
We fly by and make sure my gear is down. And it is. Boy, that cross breeze is a killer today. But that's okay. We can deal with it.
Landing flaps. 30 seconds.
We can deal with it. A little juke and jive off the grass, but don't stop. Don't try to stop it. Let it roll. Let it do what it wants to do. It's when you suddenly try to, when you're going along that speed, especially on the ground, and you try to correct it because you want to stay on the runway, the heck with that staying on the runway. Let it run off the runway. Because all you're going to do is you're trying to save your pride and damage your plane. Let it run off the runway. It ain't going to hurt it.
Flaps up.
All right, that's the second flight. Let's get you a battery report. And what do you want to hear before you touch a plane?
Prop secured.
Prop secured, that's right. Not that you got a prop here, but okay. Well, hey folks, we got 2 flights in with the 80mm integral. I like to call it Sharky because it's such an organic looking plane. It looks like a shark. Let's talk about CG real quick. I don't have the actual numbers, but I can tell you where it is. If you look on the plane, you'll see these 2 marks here, these 2 part of the decals. Go straight in where I've got them black marks, and that's where she CG's at. Okay, kind of hard to check from the underside because of the wheel wells, but put her right there, and she CG's just perfect right there, nice and level. And that's what you want with this kind of plane. Because this, with a mid-wing like this is, because this is mid-wing, it's CG, it flies just as well inverted as it does right side up. Okay, now talk about the gear. It's got some very nice, robust suspension gear. Okay. Got some lights on there. Of course, you're seeing that beautiful afterburner that I have added. Okay, that's the KM model afterburner. Here, I want to, isn't that pretty? All right, let's put it right here. That way you can see I flew in my high rates, which I believe I flew in high rates. I'll give you high rates in mid. I only flew in high or mid. High rates right off the bat, 100% throws, 30% expo on the aileron. Okay. Elevator, 100%, 30% expo. Rudder, 100% with 40% expo. And my mid rates, okay.
Mid rates.
Aileron 70, 30% expo. Elevator 70, 30% expo. Because I don't remember if I flew in mid also. And rudder still 100% with 40% expo. Flap settings, there is some mix, okay. Flaps up are negative 100%, negative 0. Okay. Takeoff is 30%.
Takeoff flaps.
With 10% down elevator. Landing
flaps
is 100% with 25% down elevator. And there's a 2-second deployment. Watch that elevator.
Takeoff flaps.
See how they change? All right. my AS3X settings that I flew in.
Prop secured.
One-time gains, and the gains that I have are a little bit different than default. On roll, I had 20%. On pitch, 30%. And yaw, 30%. Okay? My priorities are all at 100 on roll, pitch, and yaw. Heading, I didn't do anything with. Stop lock, instead of the default 35, they're all at 50 on roll, pitch, and yaw. Release rate, all at the default to 55, 55, and 75 on roll, pitch, and yaw. One-time gains. And I would have gave you a battery report after each flight. I'm not going to remember to bring it back to the video, back to the man cave. But I want to say I flew the entire 3.5 minutes to 4 minutes each time, and I would have told you how much was left after the flight. But just a good flying plane. She got lights all over. She's very organic looking. I call her Sharky because actually, if you look in the some of the advertisement they have, they actually show, nose comes on, they actually show a shark, okay? Now, these decals are obviously do not come with it, so just pretend it don't have that, and that's what you get. Comes in the blue or red, and I'll be honest, if I could do it all over again, I think I would have got the red one. I think it would have shown up a little bit better. This blue, I think the blue looks cool, but I think the red would have given me a little more of an orientation value. So if you're going to pick between the two, I would get the red. You know, but this is still nice. But she does have safe.
Safe mode.
I do have safe enabled. But I flew in the AS3X setting, and I have my rates, my AS3X settings adjustable on a knob. But I showed you what my default were, what they go back to, just in case, you know, I decide not to use it. If I don't use the roller, that's what they're at by default. But just a good flying plane. One key thing with this plane, it has the typical, I'll show you inside. I have the KM model afterburner there. That's what that wire is. That's the AR631 receiver. And then I got a 4,000 Sokokin pushed all the way forward. Now, that's something you need to pay attention to with these FMS. Let me unplug the plane real quick and the afterburner. Okay, KM model afterburner. You have the FMS tray, battery tray, which they're famous for, which are a good design, and they're very effective. However, I want you to look very closely. You see those little plastic protrusions on the top and bottom side, okay? It's on both sides, okay? Well, those little plastic protrusion is what locks the battery in place, okay? And it goes in at kind of like at a little bit of an angle. And over time, if you pull in this tray in and out, those little nipples there, or little protrusions, will wear down. And then all of a sudden you're flying along and this whole battery tray slides back, and now you have a drastic change in CG and a very bad day at that point. Okay, so just keep an eye on that. As long as they look like they're still good and they're not really looking worn, you should be all right. You could always put you a block of foam or something in there to block the battery from coming back, or maybe even put a golf tie or a golf tee or something in there to put it in the foam to where it'll block the tray, whatever you want to do. To get the CG correct on this plane, though, you're going to want to put your 4,000. 4,000 is best for the 4006S. Is put it even with the back of the tray, and then slide all in, and then you'll either hear or feel a little like click sound. Okay, when that happens, you've got it locked in. All right. Well, there you go, folks. That is the FMS 80 millimeter integral sent to me by Hobby Zone for review. Thank you, Hobby Zone. A good flying plane. If I had to do over again, I would have gotten the red one. I think the orientation value would have been a little bit better. But there you go. Thank you for watching. God bless y'all. And don't forget, faith, family, and friends. And then Sharky. Bye-bye.